Now, if you're working to stay in your posture, I guarantee you've seen about 500 videos saying to put something behind your rear end here. As you come down, stay on it, rotate through the shot, and you're going to stay in your posture. Well, if that was working, it'd already be working, right? But most likely, if you're watching this video, what's happening is, as you start your downswing, even though you try to keep your rear end back, it starts to come off of this golf bag like I have here behind me. Stand up out of my posture, my club shaft starts to get high. I could even shank some. I hate even saying the word, but that's a common mistake when you really start playing bad and you're losing your posture. So how do we fix this? It's actually a couple of feels that are very easy. Then once you really understand them, then it starts to make sense to keep your rear end against this golf bag. So piece number one, what I found, people can feel what the club is doing. So feeling my rear end as I'm swinging a golf club is not always the most natural thing for most players. But feeling what the club is doing, we have a pretty good sense of that. So when you lose your posture and my rear end comes off this golf bag, again, my hips go toward the golf ball. Well, as that happens, it pushes my hands out. That's where the shanks come from, like I was talking about earlier. And it raises this shaft up. So if you ever look at your golf club, and it looks kind of like this at impact, where I've lost my posture, my hands are moving this way, then this is going to be the perfect drill for you. What I want you to feel here is, instead of having the club raise up, I want you to have the club go down. I want you to feel like, again, this is not right, but I want you to feel like the club would be hitting inside your knees. Now, naturally, what you'll realize is, if you're doing this, you'll feel like this golf bag is like in the way. Right now, I feel incredibly crowded by the golf bag when I start to feel my hands being low. In fact, if I was going to hit a shot like this, I would instantly knock over the golf bag. I'm not going to do it so it doesn't slam into the wall, but it's just way too close. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scoot this golf bag back a good 4 or 5 inches. And now let's go ahead and set up where I have some space between my rear end and the golf bag. And here, as I swing through, again, I'm going to feel like the handle is down by my knees. It's not really, but that's the feeling I'm creating. That naturally pushes your hips back. It naturally keeps you in your posture and keeps you from popping up out of your spine angle. So here, let's go ahead and hit one. And I'm going to feel like I knock this bag over, keep that club shaft between my knees. As that's happening, you'll look at, I just won't lose my posture. There we go. So making sure I didn't knock a golf bag over there. So you can see there, I stayed in my posture. I didn't pop up out of it. And I really felt like the golf bag is almost crowding me a little bit when I'm doing that. So that's piece number one, is to feel like the shaft is low. That's probably going to fix it for you. Now, if you're the rare case that still struggles with it, let's kick it up another notch and explain what would make that easier based on what the body should be doing. So now, if you ever watch Rory McIlroy, obviously the guy crushes the driver, incredibly good ball striker. I want you to incorporate a little bit of what he does with his upper leg. So from his knee to his hips, these femurs here, what are they going to do in the downswing? Well, I actually want to stand a little bit taller at address. One thing I see a lot of times, people try to stay in their posture and they're way down here at address, and then they're popping up out of it. I want to stand a little taller. As I go into the transition, that's when I'm going to lower the shaft, and I want to feel like my legs flex a little bit so the tops of my thighs are more facing up. If I go ahead and stand up out of my posture, that would be here, and my legs are straight up and down. I want to feel like I start tall, and then I lower the shaft and sink into my legs. A great drill, you'll see Tiger doing this all the time, tucking the pelvis under. You'll see lots of guys working on tucking the pelvis under. That's in that transition move. They tuck the pelvis under, legs are facing up, shaft lower. That's really a great feeling to stay in your posture. And again, let's go ahead and give it another whirl. So slow motion practice swing here. What I'd like to do sometimes to get the feeling, do it pausing first, then take out the pauses, make one fluid swing, but go slow enough so that you can feel it. So here's the way I would do that. Here's my pause swing. I go to the top. I feel like I lower the shaft, go to impact. Everything looks good. I'm in my posture. I'm staying down. Then I'm going to come on through. Then I'm going to take the pauses away, and I'm going to go slow enough so I just have time to think about it. I have time to feel what I'm doing. So here, lower the club shaft, my legs come down. Obviously I'm in my posture, then come all the way on through. Now once I get comfortable with that, I'm gonna do the same thing, just faster. So no golf ball still. There we go, and I almost feel like my rear end is kicking back. If that golf bag was there, I'd slam it back into the wall. I don't want to mess up the paint in my wall, or I'd put it back there and knock it into the wall for you guys. But I'll spare the wall. I don't want to have to paint it. So I'm feeling like though, like my left butt cheek here is going here, and then boom, it's going to be knocking back toward this wall as that's happening. And again, that's easy. If the shaft is low, that starts to make sense. So faster swings until I'm basically doing a full speed practice swing. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit a shot. There we go. Killed that thing. Not going to do a whole lot better than that. Another thing there too, sometimes we're doing these exaggerations and it's like, oh, my rear end has to be way down there. I actually don't mind if your rear end starts on a wall here. If it stays around there, if it comes an inch off that, it's really not going to matter. Guys on the PGA Tour, many of them move this far off their rear end line as they start the downswing. You just don't see many of them that are popping up like this, losing their posture. Most all of them are going to stay, if there's a wall behind them, they're going to stay on that wall or really close to that wall. It's okay if it isn't perfect, as long as you're staying down, flexing into the legs, shaft a little bit lower, then you're going to hit it pretty daggone good. Now, if you're not sure if this is correct, I got a little challenge for you. Go to the driving range next time you're out there. Look at all the divots. What you're going to see is tons of divots with the toe side of the divot digging in first. So the divot looks like it's at an angle with the toe side starting first and then the heel side. Every single divot is going to be deeper on the toe side. You look at the PGA Tour, those divots are square and flat. So if you're doing this correctly, if you're staying in your posture, the real proof in the pudding is going to be, can I make that square divot with my club shaft lower rather than standing up and having a toe deep divot. Now, I got a great bonus video for you that pairs with this perfect. It's called the knuckle dragger. See, when you do this the right way, as you get your shaft lower and you get your body in posture, you get much lower to the ground. The knuckle dragger drill gives you the perfect feeling with what to do with your hands. We talked about the club here today. We talked about the legs and the body here today. Most people play golf with their hands though. This tells you what to do with your hands. I'll play a preview of that video here in a second. All you got to do to watch that full video, go ahead and click the card that pops up on your screen or the link down below in the description of this video. And let's go ahead and get started. I can't wait to share with you the knuckle dragger. I got an awesome video for you. This one is what I call knuckle dragger. And this is one of the best ones, one of the big missing pieces to players that are struggling to get more lag. Now, let's talk about when you lose lag, what's happening. A lot of times what's happening is as you make your downswing, if we're looking from this down the line view, what happens is my hips go toward the golf ball. They start to slide forward. My chest moves back away from this golf ball, so I'm getting farther away from the golf ball. And then all of a sudden I cast, I flip, and I don't have a lot of lag there. Well, look how far my hands are away from the ground. Also notice when I get my hands closer to the ground, so as my hands get lower, then what happens is they also go forward more. So as I want to have more lag, when you feel like your knuckles are dragging the ground, then that club is naturally going to lag back behind, and then you're going to release that out in front. When your hands are far away from the ground, well, if I had all that lag, where would I be swinging? I'd be swinging a foot over top of the golf ball. So you have to kind of flip, release that lag early to just make contact with the golf ball at all. So having those knuckles feeling like they're scraping the ground is really going to be a big key. Now, another piece to this, again, when I talked about losing that posture, your hips go forward. You're going to want to feel like, as those hands scrape the ground, your knuckles drag the ground.